Interface Video presents Fairhope Hospice Today. Brought to you by Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dagger Law, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.
Hi, welcome to Fairhope Hospice Today. I'm Kristin, President and CEO of Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, and we are thrilled that you're with us today. We are shooting to you live from the Pickering House, and I am joined today by our Marketing Manager, Dawn Legg.
Hi.
Glad you're here today.
Yep.
We're going to talk numbers, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Okay. This is Dawn's specialty.
Yes, I love numbers.
So I want to talk just a little bit about marketing, because I think sometimes when you think about hospice and you think about what marketing is in a different setting, how do marketing with hospice and marketing with other businesses kind of coincide?
Marketing with hospice is a lot different because it's not sales. We're not selling a product. We are educating the community. We're educating family members. We're educating our referral sources on what hospice is and what it provides. Because like I said, we're not providing a product. We're providing a whole spectrum of a service and a care to a patient and their family member.
Why do you think it's so important to educate not just family members and patients, but providers? And we mean doctors and nurse practitioners and nursing facilities.
There is still a stigma that goes behind hospice because it's more than just the last 24 hours of a patient's life, and I think we still find that. We talked to a referral source the other day that they weren't aware of who could make a hospice referral, that anybody could make a hospice referral, and that didn't have to be when the patient was in their last days of life, and what hospice can offer. So that's why it is so important to educate the physicians, the nurse practitioners, the skilled nursing facilities and assisted living on what hospice does, and not just at end of life, and who, like we've talked about, signing on sooner.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like you talked about, anybody that can make a referral. So, and we encourage the people that you meet and talk with, to talk to their physicians about it. If they've received a diagnosis that will eventually be terminal, the importance of just asking about hospice care. So if a family has talked with their physician and they want more information about hospice, they can go straight through us because they don't need to, we'll take it from there, right? Call our intake team.
Right, call our intake team at 740-654-7077. And an education on hospice can be a consultation. It doesn't have to be that hospice admission. And I think we can just do an education. And I think there's a lot of fear about that. We're hospice, we're, like we've talked about, end of life, but we can just educate you on that, what that is, or providing more educational information. We have rack cards, we have flyers, we have all kinds of information that we can leave behind with the family members on what is hospice care, what is palliative care. Yeah,
that's so important. And like you said, just because we are having a consult, giving information, doesn't mean someone has to sign on hospice. But knowledge is power. So when someone has that knowledge, they can keep it and hold it until they're ready. Some people are never ready. A lot of people become ready and then they're panicked. They don't know what they need to do or who they need to call. And so that's really, I think that's our biggest struggle as a hospice, is just getting the word out so that we can get people on our service prior to those last few days.
And for quality of life.
Quality of life, for sure.
Right. And what hospice can offer beyond what you can receive without your hospice benefit in those last days of life with your chronic illness. Hospice can provide so much more.
Yeah, and I think, there are studies that show, too, that when a person signs on to hospice earlier as opposed to later, it extends their life expectancy. There's that quality of life. They're not running back and forth to the hospital. Now we know at that point we can't cure what that illness is. We know that it's a terminal diagnosis, but to give them a few more weeks and that just quality of care, quality of life where they're comfortable, they're not in pain, they're not running back and forth to the physician's offices. That's really something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about some numbers.
Yes.
All right.
Some good numbers.
All right. Well, let's talk.
Okay.
So we've got a whole lot of different,
Yes.
when you think about numbers, why do we collect those things? I think people that are watching are going to say, well, you get a call from a family or a call from a doctor, you go out, you sign them on service, you provide good care, and that's the end of it. So why do we need numbers?
Well, you think about it, we have so many employees here, and we cover a service territory of 3 counties, but it's 1 hour from here. So technically that bleeds out into what? 9 counties. And in 2024, for our service coverage area, we had 969 hospice admissions.
Okay, so think about that. That's 1 year.
Right.
In 3+ counties.
Right.
900.
And that's patients. So think about all of the people that encompasses those patients, the family members. That's so much more than just 969 patients.
Yeah.
That's a lot of family members. It's a lot. And that's a nurse, an aide, social worker, chaplain. That's grief services. That is so much that encompasses just those 969 admissions and patients.
Right, and then we always talk about that we're not just taking care of the patient, we're taking care of the family. And then with bereavement, 13 months following their death, that touches, it's just like a river, it starts here, a creek, and then rolls into the river, and it just touches so many people.
Right.
Okay.
So another piece of data that we collect are patient days. And in 2024, we had a total of 57,251 patient days. So a lot of you may not know what patient days are. So that's another piece of data that we collect, and patient days are.
Okay.
I'm going to go a little bit of what that is.
So I think the patient days really reflect. So let's say that today we have 160 patients on our service. We may have some patients that are with us for 2 days, 3 days, 6 months, a year. As long as that disease process is kind of following that normal trajectory, then we have patients that stay on our service. So you count those days. So we get reimbursed from Medicare and insurance companies per day that we have someone on service. So 57,000 days. We average anywhere from 4,500 to 5,000 days a month taking care of patients.
Right.
That's a lot of days.
It's a lot of patients. So, and those days are split up between Fairfield, Hocking, Perry counties, and then in the surrounding counties, like we said, that bleed out. And year to date, I pulled some data this morning. Year to date, our hospice admissions, we've had 310 admissions year to date as of today. That's huge. Just here. So the volume of people that we touch in this area, I just can't describe what that has to mean to the families and just to us, to keep our staff, what our staff does every single day, leaving here, and the people that are here in the Pickering House that come here every single day that are admitted and walk in these doors.
So where do you see those numbers trending from 23 to 24 to this year? The increase in those numbers.
So we've had a huge increase. We talked this morning in Hocking County. Our patient days in Hocking and Perry County have really increased. I know from 2023 to 2024, we had a 71% increase in patient days in Perry County.
What do you attribute that to?
I think a lot of awareness, education. I don't know if there's, the generation that is coming up for hospice care, that's eligible for these services and the age that they're at. But I don't know, education and awareness. We are constantly out there. We have a team of 4, a marketing team of 4. One person is our graphic designer, so she's here a lot, but there's a team of 3, and we're always out marketing. But also our staff is huge. Our staff is a part of our marketing team. So we have nursing that goes into these buildings and aides that are in these buildings, and they are a part of our marketing team.
Well, just like our volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
I know for our volunteer party last year, they all got shirts, and on the back it says, "Ask me where I volunteer." Right. Because we put a lot of volunteers in nursing facilities and just different events that we have.
Right.
Yeah.
So everyone markets for us. Yep.
All right. So let's just talk a little bit about, you touched just a little bit on the age of patients that we have. And so that varies. Obviously from pediatric, from children to, I think we had a 101-year-old today on our report. So do you feel like sometimes the age, and let's say my age, your age, we're on social media. And so we learn a lot. We gather a lot of information. And then we provide that to our parents and our grandparents and our families. Do you feel like that really helps with the awareness?
I do, in the sandwich generation.
Yep.
So that is a huge population that we do try to reach via social media. Facebook, we provide a lot of educational material via Facebook, and we do education in multiple social and public venues for education. I mean, even if you think about fire departments, the senior centers, they have specific senior centers in general. They do educations for sandwich generations, and they call it that. But I think it's very important that we reach our generation because we're the ones making those decisions.
Right, absolutely.
But we talk about that, and we talk about the newspapers. So our last volunteer class, we had all 4 of our volunteers in that class had read Rick Snyder's article about Fairhope Hospice, every single one of them. And that's how they knew about us to reach out
to volunteer. Can you talk just a little bit for those people that don't know where Rick Snyder's and who he is?
Yeah, Rick is one of our amazing volunteers, previous employee, volunteer employee. He is an amazing person, and he writes articles for us in the Town Crier every other week, so you want to read those, and they're always stories about patients on our service here at Fairhope.
And he's written 2 books.
Yes, he has.
And in those books are stories about the things that he's experienced as a volunteer, as an employee. So you got to catch those. Maybe we need to put that up on the screen so people can find those books. Yeah. So let's talk about palliative.
Yes, it's huge. It's our newest.
Yeah, it's our newest family member.
Yes, it is.
The AIM Clinic is on East Main Street in Lancaster, and we opened last August. And every month, I'm not a numbers person per se, but I love watching those numbers climb. And you want to tell us a little bit about where we are?
I do. So in 2024, we had a lot of palliative admissions. So in 2024, we opened the clinic in August. So of course, we're tracking those clinic admissions. But as a whole, we had 1,189 palliative admissions. So that's among the community, the clinic, and the hospital.
So for those people that don't know, we have a huge presence at Fairfield Medical Center. We have 2 nurse practitioners there pretty much every day. We get a lot of referrals for patients who are at the hospital who have a palliative or a chronic illness. They're referred to palliative. And so that's where a lot of those referrals come from.
Yes. So 2025, so far, we've had 224 palliative admissions and 297 referrals.
Wow.
So a lot of those referrals are still pending, but that's a pretty good conversion rate to convert those patients.
Absolutely.
So we've completed 694 palliative visits so far year to date.
In the hospital, in the community, and in the clinic.
And at the clinic so far, year to date, we have completed 148 visits.
That's
at
great.
The clinic. Yeah, so that's huge.
Good numbers.
Right.
Yeah, because people are just, people are just starting to realize and understand what the clinic is all about. You're going to treat it just like you would another specialist that you see. But we really partner with some of the other physicians in town. So if someone is at the hospital for a treatment, or they're at the hospital for an admission or an ER visit, they can give us a call at the clinic. They can come over. We can see them right away. So, all right.
Great.
Okay, well, let's give the information. And so if anyone has questions about any of this information, they can give us a call here at 740-654-7077. Please watch us join us on Facebook, and our website is fairhopehospice.org. Dawn, anything else you'd like to share about your marketing adventures and all the good things that you do here at Fairhope?
Well, if you need anything from our marketing team, or you're interested in us speaking at anything or doing any type of education, you can reach out to us at admin@fairhopehospice.org, and we will follow up.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for joining me today. You make numbers fun.
Oh, thank you.
What makes Fairhope what it is our staff. It's always a question that we ask, why do you want to be here with us? And what they most always say is, you've touched my life this way. You took care of this person, or I've seen what you've done and I want to do that. And so the staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairhope what it is.
If you've been thinking about getting a home loan, now is the time. Hi, this is Carrie James from Fairfield Federal. Our experienced lenders are here to help you make your vision a reality. For more than 125 years, we've been helping our community achieve home ownership. Fairfield Federal has convenient online application for your home loan, home equity loan, and home equity line of credit needs. Visit fairfieldfederal.com to get started. Fairfield Federal for checking, savings, and home loans. Data charges may apply, subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 402612.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Managing your health can feel scary, but you are not alone. At Fairfield Medical Center, our network of healthcare professionals and compassionate caregivers are focused on one thing: supporting you. From primary care to specialty procedures and rehabilitation, we offer the resources you need to lead the life you love. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
Did you know Fairfield DD provides coordination for over 1,200 people in Fairfield County? That's 1,200 unique journeys, each filled with talents, dreams, and challenges. And while no two paths are the same, one thing is true for everyone. Life is easier when you have the right support. That's why we're here. From early childhood milestones to school transitions, employment, and adulthood, Fairfield DD connects individuals and families with the resources they need every step of the way. When the right support is available, a vibrant community where people lead lives of greater independence and make meaningful contributions becomes possible. Learn more at fairfielddd.com and check us out on social media. Together, we're building a more inclusive Fairfield County.
Hi, I'm Kristin Glazier, President and CEO of Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, home of the Pickering House, and you're watching Fairhope Hospice today. So we are really excited to bring you our show today, and we are shooting from the Pickering House in our kids' room. And I'm really honored today. Our guest is Caitlin Dean.
Hello.
And her and her husband have the Beckham Ellis Foundation, and we're going to show you a little bit in this room, but Caitlin helped us to make this room what it is today. We've had a kids room here for quite a while, since we opened the Pickering House, but we knew that it was time for us to kind of update and just really make it more personal and more kid-friendly. So we're going to talk to Caitlin a little bit about how that happened and why she picked Fairhope. So welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you coming in.
Thank
We're sitting
you.
on this lovely couch, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I just was wondering if you could share just a little bit of your story, like what the Beckham Ellis Foundation is, and just share a little bit about that.
Okay. First of all, our son's name is Beckham Ellis, and he passed on when he was 2.5 years old. He came down with a bacterial infection, and we took him to the doctor, and there was a virus going around. So they sent us home, and then a couple of days later we went to Children's, which was a Saturday, and Beckham passed on Sunday.
Okay.
It was very quick. So after that, some time had passed, and my cousin Nicole actually called, and she said, we need to do something. And I was like, absolutely. I was just thinking the same thing at the very same moment. So that's when we started. We did the Beckham, our first golf outing, which was the Beckham Bash. And really things just kind of quickly transpired from there into the foundation and what we were raising money for and why we wanted to do it.
Okay. And when you talk about Nicole, you're talking about Nicole Colicon,
Yes.
Demaestri Colicon, and she is one of our nurse practitioners here at Fairhope and works with the palliative program.
Yes.
So she's very passionate about a lot of things, and I think that I love the fact that she came to you and said, we've got to do something, because I can see her saying that. So,
and I was a little lost at that time.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do something because the foundation was really so we could still feel very close to our son while helping people in the meantime.
It gave you both. It gave you purpose and
absolutely,
and also helps a lot of others.
Yes.
Well, can we talk a little bit about your mission? So I saw your website and it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Great job. And that is the BeckhamEllisFoundation.com.
Yes.
Okay. And so if people are interested to learn a little bit more about the foundation, please go to that website. There are opportunities just to donate, to purchase some awesome t-shirts and tumblers and just things to help support their cause. But can we talk a little bit about your mission?
Yes.
Yeah. How did you, your mission is to help families who've lost a child, who are suffering, or who have children who suffer from a serious illness. And then it kind of exploded into, let's just help families.
Yes.
So can we talk about that a little bit?
Yes. With the outing, we wanted to do something. So Beckham passed in January. So we did the first outing that same year in August on his birthday weekend.
Oh, I love it.
So it's always on the weekend of his birthday or before his birthday. And it was essentially, and in the beginning, to help families who have lost children, who have felt the pain that we've felt. Then we realized that there are a lot more people who need help. And so we extended our services to any family that was in need, whether it be Christmas, Thanksgiving, food, anything of that nature.
How did that happen? Is it just word of mouth and then you started hearing things and it just felt right to do?
Yeah, we have an amazing community and the support always gets me emotionally because without our support team and everybody that's helped us, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So with word of mouth and the people that we know, and I know a lot of really just amazing people that spread our word, and so then with that comes, well, we know this person needs help. I know it's not what you plan to do. Their child's not sick, but they don't have food for Thanksgiving. Would you be willing to help them? Absolutely. I don't want anybody to be sad,
Yeah. Or in need
or
of
in
something.
need, yes.
Yeah.
And if we can help, that's what we want to do. That's our main purpose, is to help.
Well, you can see that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I agree with you about the community. I mean, Fairhope has been around for 41 years.
Yeah.
And without this community, we wouldn't be sitting here at the Pickering House and serving so many families. We just did a segment right before you, and we talked so much about how many lives we touch and the number of families. And without the community and just word of mouth, people teaching and helping us and supporting us financially, we wouldn't be here. So
Exactly.
I totally understand that. We're really fortunate. We live in a great city.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I love our small town.
Yeah.
I love the small town feel, and there's people that came out of the woodwork for us. And so we want to be those people for other people.
Well, it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. I think when you and I first met and we kind of talked about the vision for this room, and I remember the day Nicole texted me. She said, "Kristin, we've got to do something." She said, Caitlin's got to do something for you, and I want her to help us with the kids' room. And I said, okay. So, can we talk a little bit about Children's Hospital? Because when you came in and we started talking, you said the tools and the things that Children's Hospital gave to you and your family during that time was so important. Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah. So at Children's, and their bereavement program isn't hospital wide. Okay. It's very, they do it certain areas, they just don't have the resources. But we were grateful enough to have the resources. They had a child specialist come. My daughter came to the hospital the day that Beckham passed.
Okay.
We wanted to give her the option to come in and say goodbye if she wanted.
Yeah.
But she didn't want to. It was too scary for her.
Okay.
I don't think she really knew what to expect. So the child life specialist there had a bag for her with coloring books and just, hand things to do with her hands and kind of express how she's feeling inside. And they took pictures of what the hospital room would look like, and they showed her what she would see if she did decide to go in. Yes, the tools that they had given her to make that decision for herself was so helpful.
Wow.
Yes. And we're still involved with Children's Hospital and the bereavement program that they're creating right now. So when we go to coping with the holidays that we go to every year around Christmas, they take the children into another room and they do a lot of things with them.
Okay, that's pretty incredible. I mean, and what a really great idea.
Yes.
It makes it a little less scary, and then they do have that power to make those
Yes.
choices. One of the things that we talked a lot about with this kids' room, and I had told you when I started, and I've been here for 8 years, when I started walking down the halls, in the morning I'd come in, and in this very room there would be children just laying on the floors in sleeping bags, and I kind of always wondered about that. But what I've learned over the years, children take this process in small doses. So for us as adults, it's very intense, and we're in the room with our families and patients, and it is very intense. The kids just need a break. They do it in small doses. They're there, they say what they have to say, they step out, they play, and then they're going to think about it. Maybe they want to go back to the room for a little bit. That's what this room has become, and I'm so happy for this. And I don't know if you can get a shot a little bit around the room just to show, but can you just kind of talk about the things that you've done here in our room?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were really grateful. I know you've asked me many times before, why did you choose us? You chose us. You chose us because we get to spread Beckham's life and his light. Like, his name will never be forgotten because of this room and because of you and your community here. So we had talked about needing for teens and children activities like games, and we do the dice that just ask questions that could lead into feelings. Art is a huge thing to keep your hands busy, and it's just so we try to do an art area, we try to do a play area, kit for all ages around here.
Yeah, that's what I thought was really neat, is that each area is for a different age of child. So we've got some kids that want to sit with their computer up against, up on a table. We've got the beanbag chairs where they can kick back and hook up a game system or just watch TV. This couch is incredible. It folds out. It's got blankets and comfortable things in it so they can kind of relax and take a breather. This corner is incredible.
Yes, we love that corner.
Yeah, so it's just, it's got the chairs and everything is so colorful. We've got the chalk wall, so that they can write on the chalk wall.
And the sunshine rugs, which that's what we do. If you can't be this, or if you can't find the sunshine, then be the sunshine, and that's what our whole foundation is based off of.
Yeah, and that was Beckham's favorite song, "You Are My Sunshine."
Yes,
and that's written on the wall, which is great. I wanted to. You and I talked, and I shared some stories with you, really, about the things that I found, and in all the years that I've been here, the past 3 months have been the most that I've seen kids in this room. And it's beautiful. One of the stories, and when we're finished, I want to show you the pictures.
Okay.
But one of the stories, the staff came to me on a Monday when I came in. They said, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" And they said, there were some kids in here, probably a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and over in this little cubby, you created some great things for them to make bracelets. The arts, to keep their hands busy, like the pipe cleaners and things. And they stopped in and they said, "What are you guys doing?" And they said, "We're making some bracelets for Grandma so she can take them with her." So they all ended up with bracelets, which was really precious. And just those kind of things. There was a young, probably a preteen, maybe 12, 13, sitting here, and she had the couch all sprawled out. She was kicked up. She had her phone. She had artwork. She had she was kind of studying. And I said, "What you doing?" And she said, "I'm just taking a little break." And she was drinking some tea or something from the kitchen. And it was just really cool. The cute story that I had too, as I came in, and there was this little boy, he must have been about 3, sitting with Dad, and they were playing Sorry, although he didn't know what the game was, but it was still fun. And I said, "What do you think about this room?" He said, "I like this room an awful lot." And I said, "Good." And then he played a little bit. He looked at me and he said, "I'm here to see Paw Paw." So it was the break they needed with Dad. It was the comfort that they needed. And, I am just going to be so thankful for you for doing that for us. This is going to be a safe place for a lot of kids to come for a lot of years. And thank you for that. Thank you. And I feel like we are on board with your mission and your foundation.
Thank you.
We're here for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us today on Fairhope Hospice today. I'm Kristin Glazier. Have a great month, and we'll see you next time.
Interface Video presents Fairhope Hospice Today. Brought to you by Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dagger Law, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.